morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today as we mark the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. It was a storm that brought historic devastation to most all of western North Carolina. My name is Wesley Grindstaff, and I have the privilege to serve as the Division 14 engineer for North Carolina Department of Transportation. Division 14 is made up of the 10 westernmost counties in the state, and that includes Haywood County, where we're all standing here today. I want to extend a warm welcome to everybody here today, and that includes our elected officials, our industry partners, a lot of media. Thank you and welcome to this. Welcome to our I-40 corridor project. I was told in my notes written, and 2 people told me to be brief because I tend to get long-winded, so I'll get straight to the point. But it is my distinct honor to introduce our first speaker here today. Since taking office in January, he has made disaster recovery in western North Carolina a top priority, and we are so appreciative for him. Please join me in welcoming North Carolina Governor Josh Stein.
People have tried to tell me to be brief before, but they've never really succeeded. Wesley, thank you for the introduction. I want to thank you and all the Division 14 team. Y'all have literally moved mountains to reopen roads across this division, and we could not be more grateful. Thank you so much. Pleased to be here with Secretary Joey Hopkins, who is in his last week of the job, so he is the happiest man here by far. It's incredible to think how much work you have helped to oversee and lead your team to accomplish in the past year. And Joey, we are all incredibly grateful for your service. He wanted to quit when I took office, and I said, you can't. And he did me the favor of staying on a number of months, and we're all really grateful. Really pleased that our incoming Secretary of Transportation, Daniel Johnson, is here. Daniel, we got a lot of work to do, you and me, and I know you're up to it, and grateful for your service. Also joined by DOT Board Chair, Tony Lathrop. It's good to have our partner, our Federal Highway Administrator, Sean McMaster here today, and we look forward to hearing his remarks. He gave us some awesome news this week. $1.15 billion from the U.S. Department of Transportation to help repair North Carolina's roads. Thank you, Sean. These dollars are going to make a big difference in moving this effort forward across the region. We'll let him get into more details, but obviously our partnership with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration is critical to our ultimate success. We're joined by USDA Forest Service Supervisor James Malonis. James, thank you. It's through his partnership that we're able to get all this aggregate to the project in the most efficient way, safest way possible. 2 excellent partners from the General Assembly I see, Representative Eric Ager and Senator Julie Mayfield. Any other legislators? General Assembly has been a critical ally, and I met and saw a number of local officials, and we are grateful for your work as well. Today, this weekend, is an emotional time. We're 1 day shy of 1 year since Hurricane Helene swept through western North Carolina, and that storm's devastation turned millions of people's lives upside down, and the impacts continue to ripple through this day. 108 lives were taken from us. Their families will grieve their absences to the end of their days. Tens of thousands of folks lost their homes. Thousands and thousands more lost their businesses or their livelihoods. Folks became totally disconnected. No communications, no water, no electricity, no means to get from one place to the other. In the aftermath of the storm, heroes emerged, and the employees of the North Carolina Department of Transportation are among the best. Helene damaged 9,400 sites along roads and complete road closures. Over 1,400 roads completely shut down. This section of I-40 on the Pigeon River Gorge was one of the roads that we had to close. NCDOT and its contractors worked through the winter to stabilize 10 separate locations along this 4-mile stretch. Just getting the materials to the location posed a challenge even before the rebuilding could begin. Yet despite those challenges, on March 1st, in only about 5 months, we reopened I-40. I'm incredibly grateful to the NCDOT engineers, mechanics, crews, and contractors for their incredible efforts. And as you can see all around you, construction on permanent repairs on I-40 are well underway. In the meantime, the interstate is open and keeping people connected. I'm glad we have this sound of traffic through this press conference, because it means people can get from North Carolina to Tennessee and places beyond. This project is truly a symbol of our greater recovery efforts, and we have many partners to thank for getting us to this point. The General Assembly, the North Carolina Department of Transportation, the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Federal Highway Administration, the National Park Service provided much needed funding and permitting that is keeping this recovery moving forward. But by no means is I-40 our only transportation focus. In fact, just a year later, 97% of all state-maintained roads closed by Helene have been reopened. 97% of the roads. I'm so appreciative to our team at the Department of Transportation and their contractors. My team and I have sought to bring the same urgency, grit, and heart to the broader recovery effort. I've been pleased to work with our legislature to pass 2 separate bills in excess of $1 billion to address recovery needs, and we are putting those funds to work. Along with our nonprofit partners, our Western North Carolina Small Business Initiative granted awards totaling $55 million to more than 2,100 small businesses to help them get back on their feet. We've awarded nearly 50,000 scholarships and grants to students of our universities and community colleges. We've removed more than 16 million cubic yards of debris. Folks, that's equivalent to about 5,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Our small business infrastructure program is helping local governments rebuild sidewalks and stormwaters so that locals and tourists alike can come back to downtown and enjoy and shop at our small businesses. In June, the First Lady and I were out here launching the state's new tourism campaign, Western North Carolina, Rediscover the Unforgettable. The people and places of Western North Carolina truly are unforgettable. I want to reassure folks out here, we have not forgotten you and we will not forget you. We have a lot more work to do, and I'm grateful for every federal dollar that the state has received, but to be frank, it isn't enough. The average federal contribution to a state after a major storm as a percentage of the total damage is about 50%. To date, North Carolina has received 11%. I'm calling on Congress to pass a new $13.5 billion appropriation to send more support our way. The people of Western North Carolina deserve their fair share. I was in D.C. last week meeting with the administration and Congress, making this case. It's about helping people get back in their homes, small businesses get back on their feet, and roads getting restored for the long haul. In this work, the people of Western North Carolina are our inspiration. If the federal and state governments can bring the same urgency and determination that the people of Western North Carolina have showed, we will get this done. So let's do it. Let's keep at this work, and together let's build a safer and stronger Western North Carolina. I want to thank you, and I'm pleased to invite Administrator McMaster. We welcome you to North Carolina. You are welcome anytime, but you are especially welcome when you have $1 billion check.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm here on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Duffy, as part of the department's efforts and the promise to help rebuild I-40. I'd like to thank Governor Josh Stein, NCDOT, Secretary Joey Hopkins, incoming NCDOT Secretary Daniel Johnson, the U.S. Forest Service, and everyone joining us here today. From day one, the Trump administration has put safety first, and the President is committed to leaving no state behind and getting America building again. You can see our dedication reflected in our frequent visits to North Carolina. Back in February, on one of his first trips, Secretary Duffy traveled to assess the damage that Hurricane Helene caused along I-40 in North Carolina and Tennessee. He said this trip impacted him deeply, noting that when one part of our country hurts, our nation hurts. He made it clear that rebuilding I-40 was one of our chief concerns, and we took that to heart. Deputy Transportation Secretary Bradbury was down here earlier this month because the administration believes in the power of getting boots on the ground. Our presence here today is a reflection of our commitment to all of you. We are here today because Secretary Duffy just announced an additional $1.15 billion for the North Carolina Department of Transportation to help with Hurricane Helene recovery. This is the largest single allocation of emergency relief funding that has ever been allocated to one state in the department's history. The FHWA also provided more than $500 million in quick release emergency relief program funds, including $350 million to the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Combined, North Carolina DOT will receive a total of nearly $2 billion to help with the hurricane recovery effort. Thanks in part to this funding, the North Carolina DOT was able to reopen one lane in each direction on I-40. The Tennessee DOT also completed similar repairs. We know how crucial this roadway is for travel and commerce, and we're doing everything we can to get it reopened fully as quickly as possible. I-40 is a vital interstate that allows people and goods to travel across Asheville and western North Carolina through the mountains of eastern Tennessee. From families taking road trips to large freight trucks, the impact of I-40 travel has been felt throughout North Carolina. I cannot overstate the impact, which is why fully reopening I-40 is a top priority for U.S. DOT. Under Secretary Duffy's leadership, the FHWA partnered with the U.S. Forest Service to quickly clear legal barriers so North Carolina could access construction materials from Pisgah National Forest instead of 20 to 50 miles away. And now that decision is paying off right behind us. As crews prepare to pull rock from just down the road, this cut costs and time by nearly 2/3, saving taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. My thanks to the U.S. Forest Service for working with us to expedite this work, to reconstruct I-40 as quickly and effectively as possible. In addition, aggregate industry leaders delivered aggregate from temporary repairs, which included restoring one lane in each direction on I-40. They also provided aggregate for the causeway constructed to aid in the permanent repair of I-40. This is what real results look like: cutting red tape, saving time and money, and delivering for North Carolina leadership. We're moving at lightning speed to deliver results for the American people. In just the first 9 months, the department has cleared roughly 90% of the 3,200 project backlog we inherited, delivered more than 2,000 projects worth roughly $31 billion, launched 52 deregulatory actions, cutting 600,000 unnecessary words, put President Trump's executive order into action, killing unnecessary regulations and unleashing prosperity. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak to you today. We share a common interest in ensuring that our nation's transportation system is as robust as possible. I look forward to our continued work together. Thank you. And now, let me turn it over to our next speaker, Forest Supervisor James Malonis.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. Just a year ago, just like so many in Western North Carolina, I was stuck in my house in Asheville with no way of contacting my team to know if they were safe or any way to know the impacts Helene was having around us. So much has been accomplished since that time, and that's thanks in large part to the strong collaboration between governments here in North Carolina. Governor Stein, I can't express enough how glad I am of the partnership between the Forest Service and all the state agencies that we work with, especially Secretary Hopkins and the entire NCDOT team. There are 4 national forests in North Carolina. Each one is crisscrossed by state-managed highways. We work closely with the North Carolina Department of Transportation daily, enough so that we have a position in my office whose job it is to manage this partnership and serve as a point of contact between our 2 organizations. It's the strength of that partnership that made this celebration today possible. The work to rebuild I-40 is easily one of the most important recovery projects in Western North Carolina, if not the single most important. Right behind us is a small portion of the 500,000-acre Pisgah National Forest, one of the most visited national forests in the country, where NCDOT crews are preparing to extract the materials for this critical project. While our NCDOT colleagues are preparing to begin this work, we're already looking toward the future and the work that will happen after the extraction is complete. So not only are we working together with the DOT on the restoration of the borrowing area itself, but we've also entered into an agreement that will improve water quality and wildlife habitat throughout the Pigeon River Gorge. And the agreement will also add more than 1,000 acres of working forest land to the Pisgah National Forest. We're very grateful and proud to play a part in this project, and the Forest Service stands shoulder to shoulder with our state and federal partners as we see this project through to the end. Thank you, and it's my pleasure to welcome my friend, NCDOT Secretary Joey Hopkins.
Good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Malonis. Appreciate that. Our number 1 priority this past year has been to help the folks in Western North Carolina recover from Hurricane Helene. As you've heard, this is the most destructive storm in our state's history. The impacts to transportation alone, to the state-maintained transportation network alone, are in the range of $5 billion. To put that in perspective, from 2016 to just before Helene, our department has spent about $600 million on all named and declared storms in North Carolina. That's a big difference in just that one storm. I want to thank Secretary Duffy, Administrator McMaster for their leadership and the recent announcement for the $1.1 billion. As Administrator said, that puts us almost at $2 billion commitment from the Federal Highway Administration to help us recover from Helene. Not only will that help us do the important work we have to do, but that will also help minimize any disruption to our other programs that we have ongoing across the state. And that funding is welcome and it's needed, so thank you very much. As the governor mentioned, the storm damaged about 94 different sections of roads. It also damaged over 840 bridges and 1,700 pipes and culverts. And as you can see, this hard work that has been going on this past year is paying off. As of this past month, we've completed repairs at more than 6,500 individual sites. As the governor mentioned, we've reopened about 97% of all the roads that were closed. And we've repaired more than 500 of those damaged and destroyed bridges and nearly all of the damaged pipes. Our crews and partners' efforts have been historic and also heroic. Right here on I-40, just on the other side of the tunnel, our IMAP drivers and a handful of employees rushed to save lives during the storm. As the interstate crumbled into the river below, they turned traffic back to Tennessee. Drivers, motorists were looking through their windshield as the road fell apart in front of them. Our folks backed those vehicles out, they calmed the motorists, and they evacuated all those motorists without any loss of life or injury. This is just one example of the efforts our crews have exerted over the last year. The governor mentioned that we were able to open up 2 lanes of I-40 March 1st, and that has made a big difference with commerce in western part of the state and points beyond. Several years of work still remain here, even after all of this effort. But as you've heard, the project's getting done faster and at lower cost thanks to the agreement between the U.S. Forest Service and the Federal Highway Administration. And I can't speak enough of the partnership that our department has with both these federal departments, these federal agencies. We've built these relationships working on projects all across the state for many decades now. And what you see behind us is a testament to that partnership and those friendships between our employees and their employees. And it's times like this where you need to have those relationships. Also see my friend back in the audience, U.S. Army Corps of Engineer Colonel. Glad to have you here. You're part of that too. Thank you for your friendship and partnership. We need all of those federal agencies to do this together, and it makes a big difference. Many of the people in yellow vests behind the cameras are on our contract team here, and also our consultant team and our DOT employees. These are the people that are actually doing the work that is approved by these many different agencies, and they're working hard each and every day to help restore this transportation network. With that said, as you've heard from the governor, I have decided to retire, and I'm just a short timer here. I'm really happy to spend some of my last days here in western North Carolina, really a place that tells the hardship that's been overcome by the resilience of the people of western North Carolina and the workers in our state and the partnerships we have. I'm grateful to our DOT team and to all the people I've worked with throughout my career, including our partner agencies and the contractors. Thank you so much. We've tackled many challenges and celebrated many successes, especially in this past year. And again, with that said, we've got a lot of work to do in front of us. However, the department is in good hands. Daniel Johnson is taking the reins. Governor Stein and I both have full confidence that he will continue the good work that has happened this past year, and he will do that in a spirit of partnership. Thank you again for supporting the recovery efforts, and I want you to know that our department will see this through to the end. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Secretary Johnson for comments.
Good morning. Thank you, Secretary Hopkins. Thank you for your years of service to the Department of Transportation and the people of North Carolina. Thank you for your clear-eyed, steady leadership that set the department on course to restore the roadways and reopen western North Carolina. And thank you, Governor Stein, for entrusting me with the responsibility to carry forward and build upon the legacy of Secretary Hopkins. I look forward to the challenges and opportunities as I assume the responsibility of serving as Secretary. The largest challenge and greatest opportunity come in continuing the recovery and reconstruction progress led by Secretary Hopkins, our staff in Raleigh, our people on the ground, who are led by division engineers, including Mr. Grindstaff, Tim Anderson, and Michael Poe. The scale of destruction the department faced in the wake of Helene was unimaginable. And yet the department rose to the challenge and restored access to this critical infrastructure at an awe-inspiring pace. That pace must continue. While it is important to reflect on the many accomplishments over the past year, there is no time to rest until the restoration of roadways in western North Carolina is complete. Of course, the department couldn't have gotten to this point without strong collaboration and unprecedented support from our state and federal partners, most notably U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, and the United States Forest Service. I want to thank you, Administrator McMaster and Supervisor Malonis, and your teams. I look forward to continuing the collaboration that has allowed for the progress to date and has set the stage for the full restoration of the roadways of Western North Carolina. Finally, I want to thank our families and neighbors, our contractors and suppliers, and the crews from across the state and beyond who have made this massive recovery effort possible. Thank you. Now I want to invite Governor Stein and Secretary Hopkins back to the mic for any questions.
We're happy to take any questions if there are. Yes, sir.
Governor Michael with WBTV in Charlotte. Democrat governor working with a Republican-led federal administration, oftentimes called a divided state at times. Did politics ever come up in this recovery process? And if not, what can we all learn from that?
My priority are the people of Western North Carolina. The president and his administration's priority are the people of Western North Carolina. The secretary, all of these hardworking folks, the priority is the people of Western North Carolina. And so when you share a priority, you can come together arm in arm to try to make a difference. There are always going to be moments of tension where we want things to move faster, or we want more, or we want better, and that is natural in any kind of process as massive as this Western North Carolina recovery. But I've been very gratified with our partnership with our federal agencies.
Governor Stein.
Yes, then we'll come back to you.
Thanks. Secretary Hopkins, I have a couple questions for you. Could you give us some more specifics, drilling down on exactly what is going on? Where will the $1+ billion be going towards? What kind of contracts? And just a little bit more detail on the extraction here.
So I may have to call on some more experts on the extraction, but starting there first. Right behind us are vents for the bridge crossings that will cross over the Pisgah National Forest. I'm sorry, over the Pisgah River. And so there will be a pair of bridges that cross right here, right behind us. And if you look across the river just down below, you see the vents on the other side that's starting that. These round things are piers or vents where the bridge will sit on. And so there'll be two one-way bridges crossing here. They're temporary bridges that will come out once the material has been extracted. Going up behind them, the mountain behind me is a haul road. So that's being constructed to go to the quarry site to bring the material back across the river that will help to rebuild what we lost for I-40.
Where does the rock go? Under this asphalt? Can you give me just an idea
Yeah,
of the
so
cake?
we will ride some of this after this is
Okay.
over, and I think we're going to go down on the causeway a little bit, and you'll see what we have to build back up to replace what was lost with the flooding of the river.
Those engineering questions we can answer for you individually, Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Hugh. And the other question, I'm sorry?
Where's the 1.15?
Okay, so Federal Highway Administration helps us on the federal aid highway system in North Carolina. So the interstate system, US routes, NC routes, and your main secondary roads. So that 1.15 billion with the additional money that we previously got totals roughly 1.9 billion. That will go to the federal share of repairing and replacing those damaged federal aid network highways. So much of that will go to I-40, which you'll see that's estimated to cost us more than $1 billion to repair that.
And then just what the stretch is on I-40 that you're still working on.
So we've got about a 4-mile stretch just west of the tunnels that we lost either a portion of the shoulder, a portion of the slow lane, or both eastbound lanes by the raging waters after the storm.
Thank
And
you.
the next question, I think.
Jordan Kudish, Spectrum News. I was here when Helene hit, trapped in the hotel, seeing everything, the power going out. And it's amazing to see how far North Carolina's come since this happened. But there's also concerns with this new tropical system coming our way.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to prepare for that? Are we prepared for that substantial amount of rain? I know people I've talked to, they're concerned and worried as they should be.
Yeah, we too are concerned. Having a briefing at 11 a.m. with our emergency management team and our state climate with our National Guard. We're going to watch the storm exceptionally closely in the coming days to see whether there will be impact on the state middle of next week. We surely hope that there is not. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much again. And I-40 reopened a few months ago. What work still needs to be done on I-40, and then also what's the estimated cost to rebuild
What was the cost to get it done and what needs to be done?
Yeah, so a lot of more detail you'll get on the trip, but just basically, we've got to rebuild from the river up what was lost. And so that's mostly the 2 eastbound lanes coming out of Tennessee to right before you get to the tunnel. So that's a lot of work that has to be done. The current estimates have that somewhere just over $1 billion total in repair work to do that, and it will take a few years to get that done. Our target is to have it reopened in late 2028.
We'll take one more question.
One more question? Yes, sir.
Hey, Governor Ray Urena from WYFF. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I know that J.D. Vance made a stop in Concord earlier this week, and at the end of his speech, he said that his administration is trying to work with you all. He said that you all have been in contact with the president and the vice president about the hurricane relief. I know you're calling on Congress to get more of the money that's been appropriated to you all faster. I just want to see what your response is, because the federal government and the administration up there is saying that they're trying to get that money as quickly as possible.
There was a tropical storm that hit the Piedmont, a few counties in the center part of the state this summer, called Tropical Storm Chantal, that in a very concentrated area had a large impact, tens of millions of dollars of damage, people's homes, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of public property. I had applied to the federal government for federal aid, public assistance aid, to help us bear the cost of that storm. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the president called me to share the good news that he had granted that request. And we are now going to be in partnership with the federal government to help our neighbors in the central part of the state. In that call, I said I was coming up to Washington the next week to make a request of $13.5 billion of the federal government, because North Carolina needs our fair share. Like I said, we are grateful for every dollar the federal government has given us. They just haven't given us enough yet. And I hope and expect that they will. And so he said, well, I will make my OMB director, Russ Vogt, available for you. And so when I was in Washington, I met with our 2 U.S. senators, I met with the vast majority of our congressional delegation, and I met with Director Vogt and Deputy Director Bishop. We made our case, and everybody received that information with an open mind. The case is so clear that the people of Western North Carolina deserve their fair share, that I am confident that that our Congress and administration in Washington will do right, continue to do right by the people of North Carolina.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.